So Carl Smesko, I have to say, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with him as a coach over the last couple of games. Like, I was really impressed with him in preseason. I was really impressed with his dream team in preseason. And I gotta say, I'm impressed with how he was today. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We are trying to get to 47k by tip-off of the Liberty game. If we could do that, that would be absolutely incredible. Either way, whether we do or don't, thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel recently. It has been incredible. However, with the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream, these teams, this is a heated game. Every game against the Fever is going to be heated from every single team. And what he did to stop Caitlin Clark today, first of all, I think what Stephanie White did to stop Caitlin Clark was more beneficial, honestly. It was more beneficial. And I think Stephanie White stopped Caitlin Clark more than Carl Smesko did. And I remember saying it a couple of days ago, and I'm like, Carl Smesko, the tactic that they went out with full court pressing and just rotating, I was like, it forced Caitlin Clark to play a bad quarter. And he went out with a slightly different tactic today, and it worked on the defensive end. It absolutely worked on the defensive end. Do you want to know what the tactic was from from Carl Smesko? Just foul her. Like, that's literally what the tactic was. From moment one, it's, again, if you've played ball at any level. Like, look, again, I've been an assistant coach. I've been a head coach at the collegiate level in Ireland. At the quote-unquote pro level, I've been an assistant coach. Really low-level pro. But, like, you sometimes, when you know who refs are, when you know what the other team is like, when you know the other team struggles with physicality, when you know that that's the only way you can get at them, sometimes people literally say it and they're like, or coaches will say it, and it's like, go out there, hit them hard, hit them early, because the refs might call a couple of like, they might just call a few early and then they're not going to call them the rest of the game. And that's what they did. They put Ryan Howard on Caitlin Clark, who just absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked. Like, Ryan was hacking Caitlin Clark. There's no question about it. Like, there's one clip where Caitlin Clark literally went, she went behind the back on the fast break and she would burn Ryan Howard, and Ryan Howard just shoved her. And then she ended up turning the ball over. And, like, it was Caitlin Clark was so shocked that it was the first game in her career. First game since 2022, since her sophomore year at Iowa, that Caitlin did not make a three. She did not make a three. It was her first game since her sophomore year at Iowa that she didn't make a three. And now it's like, that streak is done. Again, at some stage she probably will hit a consecutive three streak. But like, it's just the way she was being guarded. Like, if you look at how Pow Pow guards are here, how Pow Pow guards are in this possession. She's going at Pow Pow. He tries to drive to the basket. Pow Pow just grabs her. Pow Pow literally just grabs her, two hands on her hips. Nothing. And it was Ryan Howard from second one. Like, Pow Pow literally grabs her and it just puts two hands on her hips so Caitlin can't go by her. In the end, Caitlin does hit the mid-range shot. But literally, that was it. Grab her. Caitlin off the ball. Caitlin was off the ball, and I'm not joking. There were times Ryan Howard just had both hands on her jersey. Ryan Howard with Caitlin off the ball had both hands on her jersey quite a lot. Like, it was mad. It was mad. Like, I've never seen anything like it before. I've never seen a player like it was. Sorry, not never seen it. I've never seen it at the WNBA level. It was It was Lu Dort and Luka Doncic. That's literally what it was. It was Lu Dort and Luka. If you've ever seen, like, if you've seen Lu Dort and Luka, that's what it was. It was Lu Dort and Luka. And, like, I'm just like, you know what? You can't. And Caitlin was getting called, by the way, for offensive fouls for trying to push off. There was literally a play where Caitlin had her jersey grabbed and she pushed off and got called for an offensive foul. She was being having, like, two hands on her jersey and she pushes to get someone's hands off the jersey and gets called for an offensive foul. Like, Carl Smesco played it perfectly. Hack her for 40 minutes. And to be fair, maybe late on in the game they didn't hack her. But hack her. And by the way, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, it is like, it is literally, if you take her out of the game, the Fever don't function. Maybe with Sophie Cunningham, the Fever don't function well without Caitlin Clark in the game. And I don't mean on the floor, I mean just in the game. They don't, when Caitlin's froze out, they don't function properly. And what they did was, they made sure when Caitlin gave the ball up, that she was never getting it back, because they were hacking her off the ball. And they made sure they were hacking her so much that she gave the ball up. And they knew from the last game that pressure, Christy or Stephanie White, I keep calling her Christy Sides. I won't call her Christy Sides. I won't call her Stephanie Sides yet. But Stephanie White, that when Caitlin Clark is being overly pressured, he knew that Caitlin Clark, or that Stephanie White, goes away from Caitlin Clark. He knows that when the pressure is too high on Caitlin Clark, and it was exactly what they wanted. They wanted Kelsey Mitchell to be the decision maker. They wanted Kelsey Mitchell playing the one. If you just look at what they did with Kelsey Mitchell, I mean that, just if you watch with Kelsey Mitchell, they allowed Kelsey Mitchell go play single coverage the whole game. They'd allowed Kelsey Mitchell go and sprint, try to run the one. They genuinely did not attempt to stop Kelsey Mitchell getting the ball. They did nothing. They were fine if Kelsey Mitchell dropped 40, because they know that this team does not function with Kelsey Mitchell going dribble, step back, long two. They know that this team doesn't function like that. So, look, it was a near perfect coaching game. The team doesn't have the talent. It's not like they don't have the talent of the Fever. I'm going to be honest, they don't. But at the same time, you don't need to have the talent of the Fever. You don't need to have the talent of the Fever, because sometimes you can just outcoach them. Sometimes you can be more physical. Sometimes you can be more strong. And I think this is a tough matchup for the Fever. And Carl Smesco is coaching a team that is not only runs up and down, not only plays defense, not only is tough, but is also tough and has an ability to go inside, go outside. Like, the Atlanta Dream, I don't think on paper is the greatest team in the world, but I think Carl Smesco has got them really firing all cylinders. And if we're being honest, it was a very, very gritty performance, and they dragged the Fever to, I'm not going to say drag them down to their level, because I've seen the Atlanta Dream go and cook. They dragged the Fever out of their game. A lot of it was via Ryan Howard, because, again, it took Ryan Howard a bit off her game early, and then once Caitlin got out of rhythm, Caitlin didn't hit a three. For the first time in her career, she has not hit a three in a game. And look, did it work out for them? Not really. But it took a Natasha Howard masterclass. And it also took Alicia Gray stinking it up. Tina Paopao went 3 of 6 from 3 in her defense, but he managed to do it. He managed to completely take Caitlin Clark out of the game. And he didn't take Caitlin Clark out of the game. He forced the coach to take Caitlin Clark out of the game. Stephanie White was not going to draw up anything to get Caitlin out of that. Stephanie White was absolutely not going to draw up a play to take Caitlin Clark. Or was not going to draw up a play or draw up anything to get Caitlin Clark back into that game. Caitlin was fighting for herself out there, and Caitlin was losing that fight. She was losing that fight, and I have to say, Carl Smesco, he did everything to stop Caitlin Clark, and it worked. It worked. He had the answers. He had the answers for Caitlin Clark, and I think he's the first coach that I will say has had the answers to stopping Caitlin Clark so far. But yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That's the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.